Sai Ram. Dear students, welcome to one and all for the 10th class State Syllabus Science Book 1, Chapter Control and Coordination. The chapter Control and Coordination is being understood under 6 parts. Out of them, today we will be dealing with the part 1 or the first part, which mainly deals with the plant control and coordination. Before we begin, the caption or the title of the chapter, Control and Coordination, is a biological science related chapter where the biology mainly deals with plants and animals. Control, the term tells us minimizing our sensual desires or sealing of our desires and the worldly needs to the extent possible so that the life activities can be maintained in a balanced state, which we call it as homeostasis. Coordination is nothing but cooperation. In this coordination, one small anecdote comes to my mind. Once there was a fight or a quarrel between the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears. Their fight was that eyes was telling it was more superior. So the fight tagged with superiority complex. Their quarrel increased the noise, which made the heart to come in the middle. And the heart says, if you all want to know your superiority, then each one of you should take a leave for 2 months. Then let us see what may happen to the body. And the eyes first took the leave. When the eyes took the leave, nothing happened to the body. Only thing, there was no view. The person cannot see the creation. Rest of the activities were in perfect way. The eyes came back after 2 months and just kept quiet that it was not superior. Then the ears took a leave. Even then, the body was in a balanced state. Only thing, cannot hear to the noises or the sounds. Again the ears came back and just kept dumb silent. Then the nose took a leave. Nothing happened to the body life activities. Again the nose came back and it also kept dumb silent. Immediately the tongue started to tell, since all of you are not superior, I am more superior because I do 2 activities. One is I talk, the other is I taste the food. So I might be and I am the superior. Still it too took the leave. Nothing happened to the life activities of the body. Only thing, taste was not tasted and also there was no any conversation or talking with each other. Even the tongue came back and kept dumb silent. Then the heart said, since you all took leave, now it's my turn to take leave for 2 months. Immediately, eyes, nose, ears and tongue started to tell to the heart, kindly oblige us. We have understood that none of us are superior. If you take the leave, then the whole life activities will stop and the living thing will become a non-living thing. Then the heart said, none of us is as strong as all of us. What it means? Cooperation, coordination. When all of us together, we can do maximum and also there will be balanced state in the world. This coordination, if we think of the hand, the 5 fingers, they are of different sizes and shapes, but still each finger has its own unique function. But when all these fingers are together and it is being in a fist, it can do maximum work. So coordination tells us cooperation, working together, being together, understanding together. In biological sciences, this coordination is highly related to all living organisms which are healthy and which are alive. Because we studied in our previous chapter about life processes, various number of organ systems are there in this body, and all the organ systems are undergoing their functions in a regular manner without disturbing each other, without fighting with each other, without telling their superiority that they are more superior than others. With these things, the whole body, which is having more than 20 to 30 life processes or activities or number of organ systems, but still there is homeostasis because of this coordination. In our life also, we should have in our family members this sort of coordination, cooperation and understanding. This is the meaning of this chapter called control and coordination. Coming back to the chapter, the subtopic, that is part 1, which dealt with plant control and coordination. Before I move to that, as we came to know that the life activities are being judged that they are living organisms because of their characters. Among the characters of living organisms, one of the important characters is locomotion or movement. Why the organisms move? They move in order to sustain and retain their life. When do they move? When there is changes in the environment. What we call those changes in the environment, those changes are called as stimulus in singular, plural stimuli. And to those changes in the environment, the organisms which are having life, they show the reaction, and that reaction is called as response. Response to stimulus. Plants and animals sustain their life by reacting to the changes in the environment. The changes in the environment is called stimulus. The changes may be light, the change may be the pressure, wind power, or the heat, the cold, the rain, all external changes which we call it as stimulus. Reaction to the changes is called response. If you observe the example, picture here a sunflower. Helianthus annuus is the scientific name of this sunflower. The sunflower turning towards the sun. Here sun, that light of the sun is the stimulus. And the reaction to that light of the sun shown by the sunflower is turning itself towards the sun. So stimulus is the changes in the environment. Response is the reaction that is shown to that stimulus. And here a movement picture you are observing where a cat catching a rat. Immediately when the cat saw the rat, it caught it. And it is still seeing it. Suddenly the rat starts to run. Again the cat is going to take. Here the rat is the stimulus and the cat catching the rat is the response. So this response to stimulus is an important living character of an organism to sustain its life. Even the control and coordination in plants is also relating to this character itself, that is response to stimulus. Life activities in plants varies from animals because the plants doesn't have muscles, glands, or what I mean as number of organ systems what the animals have. The two higher plants highly differs from the animals in their body structure and also in their physiological activities. Because of lackage of the organ systems, muscles, glands, etc., what we see in animals are not there in plants. So the life activities in plants which varies from animals, then in plants the control and coordination is brought about in two ways. One is tropism. The other is plant hormones, or we also call them as phytohormones. The plant hormones are also called as phytohormones. Coming to tropism. The tropism in higher plants. What is tropism? Movement of plant part in response to external stimulus is called as tropism. Positive tropism, growth of the plant part, the growth of plant part or the movement of the plant part towards the stimulus, Negative tropism, growth away from the stimulus, the growth of the plant part away from the stimulus is negative tropism. So tropism, it's a movement of the plant part towards the external stimulus. The classification of tropism or tropic movements. The first one, phototropism. Photo, the term itself is going to tell us that photo, light. Movement of a part of the plant in response to light. Here you can observe the movement of the sunflower buds towards the sun, how they are moving, the light. Geotropism, movement of the part of the plant in response to gravity. Gravity is attraction power of the earth. So the roots growing towards the earth, it is positive geotropism. The stem that is growing opposite to the gravity, it is negative geotropism. So the first part, phototropism towards the light, geotropism towards the soil or towards the in response to gravity. Gravity is nothing but relating to the attraction power of the earth. Hydrotropism, movement of a part of the plant in response to water medium. Can observe here more humidity in the soil. The water that is logging in the soil is being absorbed by the roots for better growth. So we see here the hydrotropism, almost all the roots of the plants that are growing in more humid region, the tomato, the radish, all these plants are relating to hydrotropism, where more water is there in the soil, that is humidity. More water content in the soil is required for few plants to grow better. Such plants we call hydrotropism. Hydro means water. So, movement of a part of the plant in response to water medium. Chemotropism, movement of a part of the plant in response to chemical substances. Mainly a flower converting itself into fruit is chemotropism example. The pollen tube, we all know the angiosperms, highly developed plants, to tell you all. In them, flower is the reproductive part, and during the reproduction in the flower, we see the androecium, which is the male reproductive part, produces the pollen grains, to tell you all. And those pollen grains with our male reproductive characters are going to enter the gynoecium, which is the female reproductive part, by forming the pollen tube. Here you are observing the gynoecium. The female reproductive part of a flower. It is the female reproductive part. A female reproductive part of the flower. The pollen tube. A pollen tube is going to enter, here you are into the ovary. The pollen tube entering into the ovary and merging with the ovule to form the zygote is an example for chemotropism. The pollen tube entering to the ovule and spreading its pollen grains is an example for chemotropism. The next one is the tigmotropism. Tigmotropism, movement of a part of the plant in response to touch. So in response to touch, the movement of the plant part. Mainly the climbers are examples, and also the sweet pea, pea. That sweet pea plant is an example for tigmotropism. The tropism differs from this nastic movement. Tropism is directional to the stimulus, whereas nastic movement is non-directional. It is not to the direction of the stimulus. So the tropism we studied under 5 headings. The first one is the phototropism. The second one is the geotropism. The third one is the hydrotropism. The fourth one is the chemotropism. The fifth one is the tigmotropism. Nastic movement, independent movement of a plant part to external stimulus. So the stimulus, the external changes where it is taking place. Response is not towards that stimulus direction in nastic movement. Response is in any direction. That movement is called as nastic movement of the plant. You are observing the picture of a touch-me-not plant. A touch-me-not plant. Scientifically we call it as Mimosa pudica. So the touch-me-not plant, when you are going to just touch with your finger, the leaves are going to close themselves. Not in that direction where you have touched. Almost all the leaves themselves slowly starts to close. You are observing the movement animated picture of this touch-me-not plant. It is an example for nastic movement. Even one of the insectivorous plant called Venus flytrap, which is going to eat and digest the insects for getting nitrogen to sustain itself. It is also an example for the nastic movement. So the next part, we came to know that the plant control and coordination carried out by first point called as movement, which is nothing but tropism, and the second one is this plant hormones, which we also called as phytohormones. Chemical control and coordination in plants. Chemical substance which is produced naturally in the plants for their physiological activities. External stimulus, tropism and nastic movement. Internally the plant growth and development, such as the germination of the seed, the blooming of the flower, the increase of the green content in the leaves, the abundance growth of the leaves, the widespread of the roots and the branches and the ripening of the fruits. All these are taking place, internal changes, when the chemical substances are produced inside the plants in the natural way as they grow. Such plant hormones, what these plant hormones then? They are the chemical substances produced in the plants for physiological activities. And those are divided into two divisions. One is growth promoters, which increase the growth of the plant positively. Auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. The other one, growth inhibitors, abscisic acid, ABA and ethylene. Here ethene or ethylene, it is very important for ripening. No doubt it is a growth promoter to some extent, but more ethylene over ripening is of no use for consumption. So we use it in inhibitors, retards, reduces the physiological activities. So the chemicals which reduce the physiological activities of the plant's well development are the abscisic acid and ethylene. The chemicals which promote, which increase the activities and retain the well development of the plant is the auxins, the gibberellins and the cytokinins. Let us see from the growth promoters. The growth promoters, first one is the auxins. The auxins are found mainly produced from root and shoot tips of the plant body. What is their function? They promote cell elongation, so increase of the cell size, cell division, more number of the cells are going to increase, development of seedless fruits, root formation, protein synthesis are the functions of the auxins. Gibberellins found in fruits and seeds. The gibberellins are found in fruits and seeds. They help in stem elongation, seed germination and more flowering of the plants. That is the function of gibberellins. Cytokinins produced in dividing cells, where the cells continuously undergo division throughout the plant, whereas in matured plants the cytokinins are produced in root tips, then they enter towards the shoot. Functions: cell division, the increase in cell division, breaking the dormancy of seeds and buds, regulate the phloem transport. We all know phloem is a complex permanent plant tissue which mainly helps in transport of food materials in the plant, and that is being regulated in a proper way. Delay the aging of leaves. Aging means falling of the leaves. It delays. With the delay there is more leaves for more time. Promote the opening of stomata. Stomata is the respiratory part or respiratory organ of these plants, and the stomata which is going to help in the exchange of gases either during respiration or during photosynthesis, and that is being carried out by the opening of the stomata, and that is being promoted by the cytokinins. Plant growth inhibitors, which reduce or retards the growth or the physiological activities in the plants. One is the abscisic acid, ABA, reverses the growth promoting effects of auxins and gibberellins. Functions: causes dormancy of seeds, promotes the closing of stomata, loss of RNA, proteins and chlorophyll. RNA, ribonucleic acid, which mainly factories for synthesizing proteins. So loss of RNA, gradually decrease of proteins. And also the chlorophyll pigment is also being reduced or it gets lost. With that, there is no food preparation in the plants. Gradually there is retardation or the decrease in the growth of the plant. Ethylene or ethene, produced in cells of higher plants under stress. Functions: ethylene is a gaseous hormone which stimulates the transverse growth. Ripening of fruits, no doubt fruits has to get ripened, but if the ethylene gas is being produced more to tell, then over ripening. So it is one of the negativity or the drawback. Helps in breaking the dormancy of several plant parts. These are the functions carried out by ethylene. Assignment 1. So the homework or the home assignment have the questions: the movement of stem of a plant towards the light differs from the closing of leaves of a touch-me-not plant. Give reason. Write a brief note on plant growth inhibitors. How does auxins promote the growth of climbers or tendrils, to tell you all. So this is about the today's class of control and coordination. Out of 6 parts, today we understood the first part, which mainly dealt with the introductory part and the plant control and coordination. We understood coordination is very important in the day-to-day life activities for the balanced state of the body functions. And also we dealt with the plant control and coordination, which is brought about by tropism and phytohormones. The various types of tropism according to the external changes we understood, and also the various plant hormones which we divided them into the growth promoters and the growth inhibitors, and their position in the plant and their functions, what they carry out in the plants. And we shall see back in the next session continuity of this chapter, control and coordination. Before that, I hope and I believe that all of you have understood, and also you will put your self-efforts to complete the assignment 1 questions and recap the previous content of this, what is done, before we come back to the next session of this chapter. Let us offer our whole understanding towards the feet of the Almighty, which is the work done, offered to God becomes worship. Let us offer all our understanding and the content part at His lotus feet, and praying collectively for the world's peace and happiness. Have a good day. Thanking you, one and all. Jai Sai Ram.